Hey parents, Dr. Tony Ebel checking in here, and I want to give you 5 support strategies for high functioning anxiety. Now, this is something as parents, when our kids have this, or heck, when we have it ourselves, it can be quite a challenge to see it in the way we're going to talk about and to support it in the way I know you're going to love as well, and see your child be at their very best on the other side of these 5 strategies. First off, they all start with S, by the way, so you're going to have some fun. If you've ever watched any of my videos, I try and always make the strategies, make the action steps start with the same letters, so they're a little bit more easy to remember, because if we can remember them, we can apply them. And when our children are struggling with high functioning anxiety and all these emotional dysregulation challenges that come with it, we get anxious, we get stressed, we get wound up, and it can be hard to get out of our emotional brain and be in a good place to help them. And again, if we're talking about ourselves here, to help ourselves in that manner. So my first one is actually, I guess you could almost call it perspective or philosophical, and I think it's the most important one. I would really encourage you as parents to see high functioning anxiety differently. So see it differently is the first S step. And I'm actually going to switch over here to my little whiteboard guy so that you can see as we go through what these 5 steps are. So seeing it differently is essentially saying, hey, what if we change our perspective about high functioning anxiety? I could actually do this same exact video for ADHD. God gave me high functioning ADHD. My brain, when it's in that mode and goes down that road, it doesn't go necessarily to the anxiety road. That would be my beautiful wife. But we have high functioning ADHD with high functioning anxiety. Our children are our children growing up in our driven life to serve and impact others. So I guess just there it is, jumping into a little bit of this from a personal approach. I really, really understand these 5 support strategies because I use them for my ADHD. We use them to help support my closest loved ones with their high functioning anxiety. And I will tell you, every single morning in my prayers, I say thank you to God for making me the way I am, in addition to then giving me the 4 things I'm going to do. But if I saw it as a negative, if I saw anxiety or we saw ADHD, if we saw it as medicine sees it. See, here's my number 1 rub with traditional medicine and the way a lot of the world looks at high functioning anxiety and things like it. They look at it as something that needs to be stopped and suppressed instead of supported. And if there is a literal statement, like a thesis statement to this video and to what we do with our work, it is that our children don't need to be told there's something wrong with them. They don't need to be diagnosed with a disorder that sounds detrimental and bad. They don't need a medication to suppress it and to stop it. They need the right action steps without drugs that support it. And those action steps come in 3 different kind of categories. When they need emotional support from the loved ones and professionals around them, they need physical health and to take care of it in that way. And they need chemical, nutritional health, not medications. They need physiological, nutritional, natural help. And if you take even just 1 or 2 of those, you can actually score more points than chemistry, pharmaceutical help in this way. And I'm telling you, we've seen it time and time again, where if a child with high functioning anxiety is told there's something wrong with you, here's your drug to stop it, that is a perfect storm pathway fast. That is a child who gets off track, who goes from where this could be successful and helpful to them to where they go onto the struggle bus big time. And it is hard to get that child to get off of that struggle bus if they think something is off and wrong with them. So I'm spending a few more minutes than I probably intended here on this number 1, but I think it's the most important one. If we don't see it for its awesomeness, if we don't see how high, that's why I actually love this one and the article we just published on high functioning anxiety, because we can really turn it for good. See, God doesn't make mistakes when he designs us and he designs our children. But a lot of times what we need that support to bring the best out of our design. And that's what I'm talking about with strategy. Support strategy number 1 is to see it for its awesomeness and add these extra supports, which maybe somebody without this high functioning anxiety doesn't need to dot the I's and cross the T's on these other four things. But these kiddos do for sure. So number 2, So that is the Tony the philosopher perspective one on that. Number 2 is prioritize sleep. Without a doubt, kiddos who run their brains and nervous systems hard. Actually, I want to kind of almost change that. Teenagers and above, if they're younger, by the way, this needs to be higher, the younger the child, and kiddos that are young definitely already start to have anxiety. So if you're talking about a grade school kid, you'd be looking at 8 to 10 hours, but high schoolers at minimum 8, 9 hours. Heck, if you can get them 10, give it to them, okay? When you run your engine hard, it needs to have a longer cooling off period, okay? So sleep must be prioritized, and that can be a tricky one to prioritize because our high functioning anxiety kiddos are the ones that are probably pretty driven. So they're in a lot of activities. They're taking honors courses. They're doing a lot of things that feed where their success comes from, but then it can feed back and aggravate their anxiety and get in the way of their sleep. So what you're going to see is if your child with high functioning anxiety is struggling with sleep and you know they need it, but it's not happening right now and they're struggling with sleep, you're going to see that number 4 and number 5 are really going to be things that will get sleep back online if it's off. So number 3, and really you need number 3 to build and prioritize sleep into the structure and the schedule. So what we're really talking about that is in this structure and schedule, prioritize these 2 things, sleep and just flat out free, fun, joy, nature, getting outside. Prioritize these things in the schedule. A high functioning anxiety teenager, adult, the number one thing they love to do is max out their schedule and put all sorts of, big things with sports and school and academics and jobs. These are probably the high schoolers who have jobs too. Love these kids, okay? The high functioning anxiety and ADHD, like these are the leaders, these are the doers, these are the drivers. And this is why this video is I'm so passionate about it, getting the support. But make sure that they know how important these things are to make them that much more effective in the things that they love, school, sports, and whatnot. If they're not prioritizing sleep and just power the brain down, get outside, have fun, relax time, you will run your engine to where it's not performing at its best. So by putting these 2 things in the priority, you're actually putting your driven personality in a priority as well. And it's an awesome cheat code to make that happen. Number 4 is supplements. Things like magnesium, zinc. I'm like the periodic table of elements here. I don't know why I'm not writing them out. I'm saving time here. Magnesium, zinc. There is different things. There's different adrenal support. A lot of the best adrenal supports are kind of a mix of different B vitamins, magnesium, zinc, and even herbs. There's some really great ones. And there's a lot of awesome brands out there. Ancient Nutrition is by far and away our favorite supplement brand for kids, for adults, for everyone. And we're talking about high functioning anxiety. So we're a little bit more into the older kid conversation here. So Ancient Nutrition is perfect. But there's a lot of different things that really, really are designed to support. Some of these supplements, like the magnesium, like the zinc, like those sort of things, the sleepy time kind of supplements, again, they come up, kind of doubling down on that arrow, and they can help prioritize sleep. Now, the last one is my domain, okay? When you looked at this and we pulled up the little whiteboard iPad thing and you saw the other S's, you're like, what the heck is scans and subluxation mean? You've heard how important it is for especially kiddos who are a little more prone to stress, to sleep, to have structure, to take supplements, and you're probably working on those things. And maybe you're hitting a dead end with some of those things. So the last couple of minutes, I want to teach you about something that is very, very in play with high functioning anxiety. And in my opinion, it is the thing that can turn it into either a detriment, where the high functioning anxiety goes off what, I'm going to get into the neurology here, what's called the sympathetic, so the fight or flight side of the nervous system. High functioning anxiety and ADHD can take a child or a person and they go off what we call in neurology the sympathetic cliff, where they literally get locked so deeply, so wound up into fight or flight that it's no longer high functioning and productive, but it's detrimental and they turn into struggle. And it really starts to just kind of take over their life. And what used to be awesome for them, school, no longer isn't. What used to be awesome for them is their extracurricular activities is now just a source of pain and anxiety and sleep difficulties and stomach pains. There's a word in neurologically focused chiropractic that puts that all together. and it's called subluxation. If a child is subluxated, another way of saying that word, what we know is that their fight or flight or sympathetic nervous system is running the show. Too much, too often, too high. So we call that the gas pedal of the nervous system. And if a child whose nervous system is already prone to go onto the gas pedal gets too much of it, it's the old adage of too much of a good thing. Now that drive into the central and autonomic nervous system triggers this, what's called subluxation, and another condition that comes from it called if I still got room on here. Oh, where did I go? I'm messing up here. Okay, one sec. And it goes to hang with me. You're going to want to see this word because you're going to want to Google it, and you're going to want to read an article we have on it. Dysautonomia is a catch-all word that anxiety really lives within. It's where the nervous system is shifted too much onto fight or flight, which means it's too little onto something called the vagus nerve and the counter sympathetic nervous system. And a child with high functioning anxiety needs their vagus nerve to be fully functioning. They need their autonomic nervous system to not have disorganization and discoordination to it. They need their autonomic and central nervous system to be as balanced and as functional and just in its best place as possible. That's where these guys come in, the scans. In our offices, we run, in neurologically focused chiropractors, like our office and the ones we train, we run what are called insight scans, which look deep into the central and autonomic nervous system. It takes only 15 minutes. There's 3 different ones. We can link below an article and another video that explains what they are. But they're going to do 3 things. They are going to tell you, number 1, is your child subluxated? Is their nervous system shifted too far, too much into that fight or flight system or not? Could that be a detriment? Could that be the challenge that is causing your child to go from success to struggle? The scans will rule that in or rule that out as criteria number 1. Number 2, if it's there, they tell us how much. There's a scoring to the scans. We can actually quantify how dysautonomic, how distressed and stuck in fight or flight is a child. We can measure it. And it's all safe. It's non-invasive. These scans are incredible. They'll change your child's life. They'll change your life if this is you. So we can quantify the amount of stress. And number 3, we can locate where within the body, where within that neurospinal system is that tension, is that subluxation trapped and stuck. See, what happens here, moms and dads, is high functioning anxiety and challenges like it for kiddos. As this subluxation, which maybe is a minor problem early on in life, and it looks like regular things like colic and a little bit sensory and a little bit more of a meltdown tantrum kiddo and a little bit more of a highly wound raging bull grade schooler. And then they become this high functioning anxiety, ADHD stuff later on through childhood, through teenage, through life. It can look like it just showed up recently, but it didn't. It had a perfect storm to it. It had a sequence and a build to it. And medicine is not trained to find it. This isn't a lack of chemicals. This isn't a genetic problem. There is genetic predispositions to everything. Again, I talked about my family even earlier, and I know my kids are going to be hard charging and driven because both their mom and dad are. So we know that we need to do these things to support them like crazy. But that neurologically focused chiropractic piece is the missing link that can pull a child back up over that cliff they may have fell off, can get their sleep back in order. I didn't even talk about the gut, but one of the biggest things that high functioning anxiety kids have is a lot of issues like constipation, indigestion, reflux, even later on. And we got to fix that stuff as well to let their nervous system relax. They don't breathe well. Their diaphragm and their thorax is just stuck, fight or flight, tense all the time. Maybe your teenager is always even cracking their neck or asking for massages or having a sore back and an upset stomach. These are all signs of subluxation, dysautonomia, and tension on that sympathetic nervous system. There is no medication, there is no supplement, and there is no massage that gets rid of that subluxation. That is where you need a trained, ready, neurologically focused pediatric and family chiropractor to take care of that. That is exactly what we do at PwC. That is exactly what we have done for 15 years and running at PwC. Give us a call. We'll support you like crazy. We'll take a different perspective. We'll see it differently and support your family without drugs. And all of that starts with the scans. Come to a workshop if you need to learn more. We do Perfect Storm workshops where we talk about anxiety all the time. But if this, probably longer than I intended to, video really hits home for your family, just send us a message. Go to our website, send us an email through there, or if you're ready to just get some answers and some action steps without drugs for your child to see them at their best, or maybe they're not at their best right now, just give us a call and we will guide you through the process. Thank you very much. Hope this helped. Please tag somebody or send it to somebody that you know needs this help and this support approach as well. God bless. Be well. See you on the next one.